All right, I'm gonna show some of my little bit of a collection of kind of around the camp blades that I like to use, that I've used that tend to be pretty useful. One is we're talking about fixed blades. Now before I had I have my everyday carries, which are these folders here, and what's convenient about these is they're concealable. They're easy to carry generally because they have this has some sort of clip it that you can clip to your pocket or your waistband or whatever, and then you can usually access these pretty quickly. The problem is that they're very weak laterally, so they're not really good for prying. They're really not good for really anything other than cutting, and so that's when you get into your fixed blades. So something like this. So this is a Spyderco. I don't know what model this is specifically, but it's a Spyderco. This was gifted to me, and it's kind of got this hook bill sort of gimmick here. It's a good little pry bar. It comes in a Kydex sheath. I'm not a big fan of Kydex because when I go camping or I'm out in the woods somewhere, I don't like to be noisy like that. So this makes a lot of noise. But anyways, this is more strong because I believe this is a full tang, meaning the tang is the bottom part of the metal of the blade that fits into the handle, and there's rivets that go all the way through the side, and without taking this apart, I'm pretty sure that this just kind of slides out of the plastic here. But this is going to be what's called a fixed blade, so it's fixed. It doesn't have a hinge like this. Okay, it doesn't have a hinge at all. So, and the ones with the hinges tend to be a little bit weaker versus a fixed blade. Now, the issue with the fixed blade is that they tend to be bigger and they tend to be harder to conceal for a self-defense standpoint. And again, you have to be mindful of your laws. Many states have very strict blade length laws, and there's even whether it's a folder, quote unquote, a pocket knife or a fixed blade knife. Again, these things you have to be mindful of. But fixed blades tend to be a little bit more sturdier and stronger, and so they can withstand a little bit more shock and pressure and work. So for around the camp knife or for a heavy duty blade, you want to go with your fixed blades. So this is one that I have that was just gifted to me. I just kind of hang on to it. It comes in handy from time to time, but I don't really mess with this too much. I don't coming from a Filipino martial arts background, which is a weapons based art, dealing with swords and knives and sticks and things like that. This doesn't feel like a very good fighter to me. I don't really like this, the feel of it. I'm used to a different type of feel when it comes to a blade, but at any rate, it's kind of a cute little addition to the collection. Next, what I have here is the what is this? The T3 tracker, or is it T2? And this is the Tom Brown tracker model blade from SOG. I believe they're the one that makes these. I do like these. There's a lot of criticism on this. Is apparently Tom Brown Jr.'s, who owns the survival school that I'm a student of, came up with this design, and it was featured in that movie The Hunted with Benicio del Toro and Tommy Lee Jones, or a style similar to that. It's got this serrated edge here. It's got this wire breaker at the tip here. It's kind of got like a hand axe, a bellied or belled tip here, and then the belly here has kind of got this straight edge, and then it's got a hook here for gutting. If these are really maintained and sharp, kept really sharp, then this is a really good around the camp blade. I do like this. I like this particular style. I mean, not style, but the weight of it for work and heavy duty work. It is a fixed blade. It is full tang. This goes all the way through the edge. It's got rivets all the way around it. If anything, it just would hurt to knock somebody if they have to knock somebody with just the flat of the blade. Let's see what else. As a fighter, I guess this doesn't feel too bad reverse grip or what they call ice pick or pakal grip. You know, with a hammer grip or straight grip, what they call. I don't like the way it feels. I like more of a downward point or straight point, but that's just, it just comes from the years that I've trained with in the Filipino martial arts. I'm a little kind of biased that way, but that's just me. I do like this design for general camp work, and here's the larger version of it. This is the big one, and this one does the work. This one is the workhorse, and I do really like this blade. It's just a big knife. It's just a big knife, and again, the designs are very similar, and they're designed to do the same. It's just about an economy of scale. This one I would take out and about with me on a walkabout or a hike. This would definitely stay at camp. This is kind of around the camp sort of blade here. It's gonna this thing I've just done so much with it, as you can probably tell. I've used it a lot. Let's see. You really need to sharpen these really well. You need a good file to sharpen these with. What else can I say? It's a lot of weight, so for carrying, that's why I said for walking about, it is a lot more. It's additional weight that you may not need. But as far as like harkening back to the old school Bowie knives, this is really close. It's really good. You can have it really close to the grip here. You can back off a little bit on the grip here, and you can even back up to the rear side one to really get a good hack. And this is a pretty good chopper, and you can pry with it. And this is dang near indestructible. At the time, I think I got this for $250. So this is about 200. So they're not cheap. So it's not something you just want to leave lying around, or that you want to just lose per se. So I do use this knife. I have used it quite a bit. I prefer to carry this one because it's more convenient. It's not the heavy workhorse that this one is, but like I said, if I need to have a replacement for this one, this is the one I'm going to have with. But yeah, this is something that I definitely do endorse for just around the camp one. Again, as a fighter, it's got some heft to it. It'll chop. It's a big hand axe. For reverse grip, it's again, it'll do what it needs to do. But I just don't like the way these feel from a combat standpoint. But so there's the Tom Brown series that I have here. Now we have Cold Steel. Now this Bushman. Now I love this Bushman. I definitely endorse this. It's easy to get this sharp. It's easy to keep it sharp. It has dual purposes, meaning you can put a little plastic baggie and put your survival stuff in there, a small survival kit in there, stuff it in there, and then kind of cover it up and then wrap it around, and now you kind of have a real quick and dirty Rambo knife with all the cool stuff, including the compass in the top. You can also make this into a spear tip. I remember I was fishing one time, and I had a bunch of fish on the line, and I had it on a stringer in the water, and all of a sudden there was this nice big tasty looking snapping turtle going after my fish. And it was huge, but I couldn't do anything about it because just nothing I could do about it. It really kind of sucked to watch this thing go after my fish. I really wish I had this with me in a stick or a spear, because I would have had me some turtle meat. Anyways, I digress. I do like the Bushman. As a fighter, I can work with this here. I like the way this feels. It's more of a straighter edge. The weight, the belly is towards the tip here, which is what I really like. Reverse grip, yeah, this doesn't feel too bad. But just as an overall camp knife too, if I just had this with me, this would be really good. I really do like this. It feels nice. It's nice and heavy duty. It's not too heavy. It's not as heavy as the tracker here. It's not too heavy at all. Tracker is really hefty. This is nice and light. It doesn't do quite the damage or work because of the weight difference. But again, it's economy of scale. You're going to do what you're going to be able to do with something of this size, and it's got a good reach on it. It's got a good length on it. So I do like the Cold Steel Bushman, and this is the longer version. So yeah, this Cold Steel Bushman is a good one. It's a fixed blade, and obviously it's a fixed blade. It doesn't fold or anything like that. And when you make a spear tip out of it, there's a little hole to where you can drill or put a pin into whatever you hafted onto, and for it to stay. So the Cold Steel Bushman I'd highly recommend. And I think I got this for $13. That's why I like Cold Steel. They make really cheap but good products. That's my opinion. Let's see. So this was gifted to me, and this is a Bowie style knife. Again, it's not as hefty as the tracker here. Nor as shiny. Or it's beat up. But this is a good camp knife. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles and gadgets that the tracker, as you can see, has got the hook and the straight edge, and it's got the serrated top here and the wire cutter and all this and that. But just as a straight blade, very similar to this Bushman. They're about the same length. This weighs a little bit more, so you're going to get a little bit more heft. As a fighter, I do like this because for the size, the weight, as you can see, the way that this is designed, the tip is canted. The tip is canted downward, so it's more of a good hack, kind of a good hacking sort of motion that can be made. You can reach, you can thrust, and stuff like that. Good, nice feel for the reverse grip, both inside and outside with the blade here. So this style of knife, I do like this. This is a Blackjack Campa, I believe. So this is made in USA. What does it say? Effingham, Illinois. So I'm not quite sure what the name was. Again, it was gifted to me. Okay, just got a nice little handsome sheath that came with it. So this is a good camp blade. I just keep this as a backup. So this is nice. But again, this is not something. I think you could carry something like this in Arizona. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. People that live in Arizona or New Mexico or Nevada, but I'm pretty sure you can carry something like this out open. In the upper Midwest, where I'm at, Minnesota, and that you walk around with something like this. That's Minneapolis PD comes rolling up on you real quick with their weapons drawn. So again, your everyday carry blades need to be a little bit smaller and compact. But you're around the camp. You go out hunting. It's hunting season now in mid fall, going into late fall, early winter. It's hunting season now. So I mean, you're out in the bush. You can carry something like this. But when you get back into the cities, you got to put this away. Not a good scene. Not a good look. Again, know your laws. We'll put this back. Always resheath your knives. So now I'm getting to this in here. This is and if you notice that the sizes are getting bigger, they're getting longer. And this is something that was gifted to me. I kind of like this. I got it for Christmas last year. This piece here is really something. I do like these sort of like tonto edges that they got going on. It's just a big piece of sharp metal. I do like the feel on this, from a usability, from a fencing standpoint. Yeah, this is just kind of another big sort of Bowie style blade with a nice little saw edge. This is nice and straight. It's got a nice grippy grip on it here. This feels pretty good. And this has got some sort of like metal piece here. I don't know what this is for. Tenderizing meat. Tenderizing meat probably. But yeah, from a self-defense standpoint, your handle is a good tool. You can do a lot of damage with this using the handle, especially if you're not trying to unsheath your weapon. You're still able to keep it sheathed, but it's still going to do some damage to get a point across before going lethal. So I guess maybe having this piece of metal on the end does serve a purpose. I don't know. But anyway, I do like this. It came as a gift pack, so there was this blade, and it came with an axe, and it came with a shovel and stuff. So I thought it was kind of cool. But they're working a pinch. Again, this is another good backup. Now we get into the really big blades, and so here I have my kukri, which is the traditional weapon of the Gurkhas from India, and they've made famous by the Gurkhas. The Gurkhas are the British constabulary unit from Nepal, and they're very fierce people, and they this is their traditional weapon, and this is what they are known for, just really putting this type of weapon to work. There's different sizes, there's different shapes, there's all kinds of information out there on kukris. I think Cold Steel makes a pretty good one. I'm sure you can get an authentic one. It's going to cost you a little bit. This is one I got from a garage sale. I had to kind of dress it up a little bit. But as far as a camp knife is concerned, oh yeah, this is dang near as good as a hatchet. I don't really like it as a fighter personally. Again, I'm not a Gurkha. And I'm not quite sure what their fighting style is. I'm sure it consists of a lot of hacking. This does not really lend itself well for thrusting. You could thrust with it, it doesn't feel very good that way. Reverse grip, I'm sure you could use it that way. I don't know why you'd want to. You do have a lot of reach on this. It has got a nice hefty blade onto it. You can definitely hit with the back of this. The downward cant of the blade is a bit much. For me, I just like the belly of the blade from a self-defense or a fighting standpoint to be more heftier, but it doesn't necessarily have to be pointed down like that. But being that it's pointed down like that gives this a lot of the weight forward on that hack or that swing. So this is what really is why they are known for taking off limbs in one stroke. Again, around the camp, and that, you know, this is a very, very good chopper to have. So definitely something to get and keep in your kit for camping. You can't really do without it. And short of, you know, the only thing better as a chopper than this is actually freaking a hatchet or an axe. I mean, this is, you know, this is basically what this is. This is a good hatchet, you know, especially something that was, you know, pretty relatively cheap to procure. So so this is a kukri. A lot of people tend to, and it kind of bugs me, a lot of people tend to call these Gurkhas. No, the Gurkhas are the soldiers, the men that uses a kukri, and this is called a kukri. They use this knife. So let's just keep that straight. Gurkhas use kukris. So that's what this is. So definitely highly recommend it to have. And that's why I have it. Now we start to get into the bigger blades, but before I do that, along with that little kit that I got here, with this blade here came this little hatchet, and hatchets are good to have, and this is pretty sharp, and it's just, that's what it is for. It's just for chopping, you know, and you know, as a weapon it'll work. The thing about hatchets is that you got a hooking here with the beard. If you kind of, depending on the style, you know, you got a hammer on the back side of this, wouldn't withstand too much. But they took out some weight by cutting a hole out of this piece here. This is a full-tang that goes all the way around. It's got a nice little grippy grip on here. And then a lot of times you can choke up on this, and then you've got this backside to hit with or to hook with, you know, and then you can release that and you can do your chopping like that, right? So you can put this up, you can hit, you can strike. You can strike this way, you can push it back up, and then you can finish doing your work. So, but yeah, as a around the camp knife, this is a good tool to have. Yeah, you really, hatchets are really very, very worth it, and they are designed to split wood. They're designed to chop, versus, you know, other blades which are not necessarily designed to chop wood. So you can kind of see based on the design what their purposes were, you know. It's for cutting and slashing, okay, and thrusting, and this is definitely for chopping. So that's what it's designed for. And the design hasn't changed in thousands of years. So let's see here. Put this back. And I just fashioned this quick little sheath out of this. It came with a sheath, but I wanted to make something a little bit more interesting. So I just made this out of leather right quick, and it protects it. Okay. So now, lastly, we get into our machetes, or machete size. I've had plenty of machetes. Around the camp, definitely a must-have. And what I have here is a smaller version of Cold Steel's barong. Again, I love Cold Steel tools. Their products are really good. Like I said, they're very affordable, and they're pretty good quality. They hold an edge pretty well. And this is one of my favorites. This is my barong, and this is a leaf blade from the southern Philippines. And again, being a Filipino martial arts practitioner, this feels beautiful as a self-defense weapon. For around the camp weapon, it's a good chopper, and it's a good, it clears brush, it makes quick work of twigs and things like that. If you're attacked by a bear, mountain lion, wolf, or whatever, coyote, you want to have something like this. It'll help just save your life, perhaps. So this is a good weapon, and they're really lightweight, but the metal's good, so you're going to do a lot of damage with this. And then this is the smaller size. I believe this is 18 inches. The other one that I have here is my longer one. Now this is the Machete size, and I think this is 24 inch, and I can't probably get all this on film, but it's a bigger barong. All right, and this is your Bushwhacker here. So this is when you got that heavy bush that you're trying to cleave through. And and again, this is basically sword length, sword size. It feels good as a chopper, as a weapon, but again, it's something that we start getting into training. I'm biased. If you're looking for a way to learn to defend yourself with and/or against bladed weapons like machetes and pocket knives and fixed blade knives, look for a good, certified, experienced Filipino martial arts instructor. There's many different styles of martial arts within the Philippines itself. Bikini Tertia is a system of Filipino martial arts that is that's used today by the Marine Force Recon in the Philippines. That's what they are trained in. They do carry what's called what is that called? Gununting. That's their service weapon. That would be their version of a kukri, but it's not. It's designed on, but it's the same. But the cutting edge, the tip is not bent like that. Fencing would help. Some of the rapier methods, the European martial arts, as well as it relates to their indigenous sword play. There's a lot of teachers that are bringing those European sword fighting or bladed arts back. Definitely pick those up if you can find a teacher or competent teacher that teaches those things like that. So, that's what I have to say. You'd have to, and the thing is the blade work. There's a saying: you run from a gun, or you run from a knife, you smother a gun. You run from a knife, you smother a gun, and that's within context and within range, because all a blade has to do is touch you, and it can do irreparable damage. Bullets can miss. Bullets can go right through you and cause no damage other than some trauma. But depending on the size of the bullet, they can take an arm off, or a leg off, or something like that. Obviously, you can lose an eye. But the same can happen with a blade, and a little 2-year-old can touch you with a blade and sever tendons, and you'll never heal from it, or you basically have the wrist or arm amputated. So blades are horrific. Blades are definitely horrific. So they're not to be trifled with, they're not to be played with. Guns are dangerous. Guns suck. But someone with a really good blade in hand, if they can close the distance between someone who has a gun or another projectile weapon, it sucks for them, especially if that person is committed and trained in that. So having a cutting tool is very important for survival, and it's also very important to know how to use it, it's important to get to know the use of them. The last thing I would say is just make sure that you are carrying and possessing and using legally within your state. That's all I have to say. That's on you to do your research. What I'm showing is just some of the things that I have in my collection, basically the ones that I use the most, and kind of gave you just a brief synopsis of why. A lot of these are on feel and just kind of what I use them for. But again, I'm not, don't consider myself a knife expert and nothing like that. I've just used a lot of them and played with a lot of them. I got the scars to prove it. So, at any rate, let's just close this brief segment out of cutting segment of the 5 C's. We probably could revisit this later if I get specific questions or if some other topics or issues come up. But again, there you go. We started from primitive. We went from everyday carry to fixed blade to bigger machete size swords, basically, with this 24-inch, I think it's 26-inch barong, cold steel barong. Lastly, I'm going to add this as I drone on. This is another cold steel toy. One of my toys that I like. Okay, sorry, my camera died. I just wanted to finish up again. I got a little bit long-winded. I was meandering on. So anyways, these shovels from Cold Steel, these are awesome. These trench shovels are great, good to have. I keep this as an everyday carry in my car. Snow is going to be coming soon, so this definitely does come in handy to remove snow or to help dig yourself out of a situation. Again, it's not a big snow shovel, of course, but something is better than nothing. And again, as a weapon, as a potential self-defense tool, these are great. They're compact, they're lightweight, they're sturdy. You can even sharpen the edges with a good file if you wanted to. And Cold Steel has replacement handles in case the handles break. And so there you go. That's kind of my little, again, just closing up on the cutting segment of the 5 C's. Just sharing with you some of the tools that I like to use. And that I definitely recommend if there's something, someplace you want to get started. Again, I'm not big into technology like that. I really don't care one way or the other. Some people are going to have their preference. Everybody's got their preference. I'm not here to sell product. Just not. It's what I got. It's what I like to use. And and what I've cited as the reasons why. I'm not really interested in debates about this or that or the other thing. There's other people a lot bigger than me, more knowledgeable than myself for that sort of thing. So please do your research.